in all that we would do. And it says that to everything that we have need of. It may not be the best car or the fanciest car or the biggest house, but we'll have a house. How do you hear what I'm saying? We'll have a car and we'll have a way. And it might not be the best paying job, but we'll have a job and we'll have the blessings of God upon our life. It means something. I ought to put God first. Woo! Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah. We've got so much to thank Him for. In Hebrews 1 and 13 and 14, it said, but which of the angels said he at any time, thou art my son, or said at any time, sit on my right hand till I make thy enemies thy footstool? Are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister for them who shall be the heirs of eternal salvation? You know, I thought about the inheritance, and we have a personal angel. Can you imagine that today, Brother Jonathan? And we can look around and we might not see him. But boy, I don't know the times that I almost had an accident, or almost done this, or almost done that. But it said, I'll give my angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. And it's talking here, said, are they not ministering spirits set forth to minister to those who shall be the heirs of salvation? Talking about you, talking about me, to those that are born again of God. They accepted Jesus Christ as a Lord and Savior. He said, I seen an angel before you. You know, I was driving down the road, the Lord spoke to me to go somewhere and visit somebody, but I want you to know that God has already made a way. He done made a provision, and all you and I got to do is just believe God from our heart. We was talking about head faith and heart faith last night, but I'm here to tell you that God has dispatched angels, and sometimes one is all we need. Oh, sometimes we might need a half a dozen, but Christ said, could not I call more than 12 legions of angels? Hallelujah, boy, I can stand that, can't you? He says this angel, he has received a charge to bring you to the place that God has prepared. And folks, God, and the last days that we're living in, God has worked all these years to get us to today, to a place where the blessings can be poured out, but also a place where the gospel can be proclaimed in truth and in power. And God is looking for a people that will stand up and not be afraid to preach the cross and to preach a holy living and a sanctified life, to come out and not be a liar or a stealer or a cheater, not to be greedy. Do you hear what I'm saying? Not to be an adulterer or fornicator. Hallelujah, but to love Jesus. How about that? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. How about that? Hallelujah. The angel is to bring us to a place of sanctification, to be set apart, to be a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Folks, there's no shortcut. We might be living in a time of microwave ovens. I was still an hour of prayer, still an hour. What He said, we're wanting to be shortcuts. And Lord, just let me breeze on in. Let me just barely make it. If we're wanting the anointing of God and the presence of God, then we're going to have to stay in prayer and in fasting and in seeking God. Hallelujah. Woo! Obedience. God, what would you have me to do? You know, to Jacob, it's a place of surrender. And folks, sometimes we surrender and then we just battle and we wrestle. But God is looking for us to come to a place of surrender, that I trust you with all that I have and all that I do. I trust you, Lord. I surrender my life to you. And I know there's a time of wrestling. I don't know about you, but we wrestle sometimes. You know, growing up, me and my brothers, we wrestled all the time. And my sons, until one of my sons, 16-year-old, held me up by my ankles, and I said, boy, it's time to quit wrestling. Hallelujah. But boy, I like to wrestle. You know, in the spiritual realm, It says our weapons are not carnal, but they're mighty through God to pulling down the strongholds. If there's ever a time, you and I need to realize that we're in a fight against good and evil. We're in a fight against truth and liars. What are you saying? But we're not fighting alone. But He'll dispatch angels that will help us. And it is a spiritual battle. But I'm here to tell you that there is a Jesus, and that there is a devil, and that there's a heaven and there's a hell. And I know the world, I will say that Jesus, I was a good man, and that Jesus was a prophet. I'm here to tell you and declare that He was the Son of God, and that He only begotten the Son, and it took the blood from Emmanuel's veins to sink and to save us. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Have you been to Calvary today? Has there been a change in your life? Reading a commentator who's talking about a man said he'd retired from being in the ministry, and said he's up around 70 and he got born again of God and got saved and got set on fire. Can you preach your whole life and be lost? There are some that's got a religion, they've got a doctrine, and they've got a testimony, but they don't know Jesus, they don't know Him as their personal Savior. I'm here to tell you, if you don't know Him in the free pardon of sin, then you're not going to heaven. He said, where I'm at, you cannot